Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of Talking SMAC, where we talk superheroes, movies, animation, comics, and much, much more. I'm your host, Josh Scar, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Alex. Alex, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2025. How are you entering into the new year?
I'm cautious. There's a storm brewing outside somewhere. There's hail. There's fire. There's some brimstone.
That's just life in the Midwest, baby.
I know. And some of it might be the special effects for this episode. I forgot what I ordered last year after our inaugural edition.
Do fireworks have expiration dates? Because I am a little nervous with the amount of pyro behind you.
Oh, it's just like mouthwash. It just gets stronger with age.
More pungent and
Yeah, you're going to smell that sulfur and that pop is just going to be a little bit louder. What about you? Are you crawling? Are you climbing? Are you dancing your way into this new year?
Oh, I wish I could be dancing through life, much like one of my favorite performances from this year. But unfortunately, I am more like dipping my toe into each day and just being like, "What new hell will this day bring?" I swear we can't go a day without having something happen where it's like, "Oh, okay, well, there goes some money from the checkbook." There's an old phrase that some people won't understand. For my kids listening in the future, a checkbook is what we used to use as debit cards.
Mm-hmm. It's true. And for your children in the future, cell phones used to be a device that you would call people on, but now you just use it to post and ghost.
It's a smaller version of a tablet.
Exactly.
So today we are talking about our favorite things from 2024, maybe some of our least favorite things from 2024, and some of our more bigger disappointments from 2024. We are going to discuss our favorite movie, favorite animated feature, or I should say live action movie, favorite animated feature, our favorite TV streaming shows. I didn't do a whole lot of video gaming this year, but I did want to touch on it just because that is something we try to dive into every now and again. Some of our favorite comic books from the year, favorite characters from video games, movies, TV. Also, just kind of following through on the trend we had in the last quarter of the year where we went, wait, when was that? And this time we're doing that was 2024. And that is the name of the category. The inflection is required. You can't just go that was 2024. No, it's not the that was 2024 category. It's the that was 2024 category. Inflection is important when it comes to that category.
It is.
And then also we're going to talk about our favorite episodes of the year. So sit back, relax. As my old favorite White Sox broadcaster Hawk Harrelson used to say, strap it down. We're going to be in for a ride. But first, we're going to hear from Karen and Ann over at the Sugar Coated Murder podcast. And we'll be back to start handing out some awards.
Hey, Ann Barner.
Hey, Karen Devaney.
We need a promo. You know, like where we talk about what we do on our podcast.
On our Sugar Coated Murder podcast? Like how we love to bake and talk about murder?
That's what we need to talk about.
There you go.
I think we've talked about it. Y'all find us on all your favorite listening apps.
Stay sweet.
And don't murder.
Because if you kill people,
we will talk about you.
And you can find them talking about you on YouTube now, because I haven't murdered, so they're definitely not talking about me. So they must be talking about you.
Definitely not me. Don't just look in the backyard. That's all.
I don't know if dead birds count, Alex.
There's a lot of them in my neighborhood, and some of them are really big and scary.
Birds, mice, rabbits, those all don't count. You're an apex predator who just likes to take naps. You're okay.
I am. I'll be fine.
So let's dive into these awards. As we mentioned, we've got 11 categories that we're going to go through. We're going to try and burn through them pretty quickly. We're just going to kind of talk briefly about the things that we have in the categories. I would like to maybe try and form a consensus on the best one of each one, except for maybe our favorite episodes, just because that's like picking your favorite child. It doesn't work out. So let's start with best movie. We have listed for us The Wild Robot, Deadpool and Wolverine. This one is going to be a little bit of a hypocritical one. I put in Alien Romulus. We've also got Monkey Man and Late Night with the Devil. If we're picking our favorite one from best movie, for me, it's The Wild Robot, hands down.
I have to agree. Deadpool and Wolverine was fun. It was enjoyable and lively. It brought back that energy I wanted to see. He was obviously Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds were just out there giving it their all, like, and that they did this beautiful twist of it not being Deadpool joining the MCU, but saying goodbye to Fox's 21-year history of X-Men. This beautiful eulogy. Monkey Man was fun and enjoyable. You could see Patel had this passion to do his own John Wicky thing. I personally just really enjoyed Late Night at the Devil because it was a very surprising low budget horror movie that had some psychological twists on it that really spurred me to love it. Alien Romulus.
It's two-thirds
Two
of
thirds.
really good, fun alien movie. And I have another entry later on in favorite characters where I'm like, yeah, but there's the thing. But
Yeah.
I can't not talk about Alien Romulus just because it was good in most of its
Oh yeah.
doing. So I feel like it deserves at least a recognition. Like
Mhm.
maybe it's not the best movie of the year, but like it's an honorable mention in like a higher quality movie of the year.
Yeah, it's like a almost there kind of thing,
Mhm.
It's like you're watching
It's a
this.
bronze or silver medal.
Right. They tripped while falling across the finish line, and that other person just snuck right in. But in terms of best, it is Wild Robot. It was beautiful. It was engaging. The story was just sweet with sincerity. It was one of those kids movies that teaches but doesn't talk down to. And I knew it was coming. That ending was coming, and it still just sucker punched me right in the heart, forced those tears of sorrow and joy out of me. And I'm so happy that they have announced a sequel, but it's not one of those Hollywood we're immediately making a sequel. There's a sequel to the book, and I'm just hoping they can carry that heart forward.
Mhm. I mean, they did something similar with How to Train Your Dragon. I think that's the team behind this as well. So, oh god, we've got the live action How to Train Your Dragon next year. That's next week that we're talking about that shit. But the Wild Robot, yeah, and I have to go back to our episode where I had said in the scene where Roz gets shut down and Bright Bill pours his heart out to her and says, "I love you." I thought he did not say mom, or I thought he didn't call her mom again. But apparently, according to the captions on the home video release, he does say mom. It's a
Oh,
little later and he says it very softly, but he does say it. So I guess the only thing I would say is make it more emphatic because I completely missed it the first time and I was really disappointed in Bright Bill for 3 months in until I saw it at home when I finally bought the Blu-ray.
okay. So I do wonder. We've been watching just background noise while doing other stuff. A lot of either some lesser isekai on Crunchyroll or the James Bond channel or Murder She Wrote channels. The free live, free ad supported streaming channels that just play them on loop. And you're watching a lot of those because we're ancient people, and we no wait we're millennials and Gen Z. Everything is subtitled because that's how we watch stuff.
Yeah, you had to turn the TV down and turn on the subtitles because you didn't want to let your parents know that you were awake watching TV.
Exactly. It's really funny how often, because those captions on like Murder She Wrote and those older channels, those were written by a person looking at the script, entering them, not listening necessarily to the audio. So it was very, very funny to hear one thing and then see extra words or enunciations that were actually supposed to be in that script, not being that were just dropped. And it's also good. I mean, a lot of people do this, but for like stuff on Crunchyroll, watching anime, I almost always go with the dub with the subtitles on. And that's also really fun because on a one that's well produced and not like auto captioned, you actually see like the character say one thing and then you read the bottom line and you're like, that's not what they said.
Yeah, the localization process
Yeah.
changes the dialogue a little bit sometimes. Ricky and I just recently watched the anime that came out, I think it was like 2022, maybe 2021. It's called Belle, where it was advertised as kind of like a Beauty and the Beast allegory, which it kind of is, but it's also not. The captions that come from the anime because they just transition over the sub or yeah, the subs over into the dub, and there are many sequences where you're like, that's not what they said.
Yeah. So maybe that is with the wild robot. Maybe the voice actor just dropped dropped the mom, but they were writing it in. It's like he might have said it. Let's just keep going.
So let's move into best animated feature. The Wild Robot. I think this is a sweep. We have Inside Out 2, The Wild Robot, Spy X Family, Code White. There are other animated features that have come out this year. Despicable Me 4, Kung Fu Panda 4. They're very in the background movies. Like they'll keep kids entertained, but there's no substance to them. Much like Deadpool and Wolverine, it's kind of a sugar high movie. I think Inside Out 2 and The Wild Robot, they have substance and depth, like we talked about with the Moana review. But Inside Out 2 is just kind of it's missing the newness kind of thing where we're familiar with these characters, we're familiar with this concept now. So there's not that sense of whimsy that's coming from the first time you see like 2015 Inside Out. Whereas the Wild Robot, they do something new. It's a story that we have seen before, but it's told in a different way. It's a beautiful movie, and the Wild Robot again takes best animated feature. But Spy Family Code White, I think we talked about it. We did a double feature where you saw a movie and I saw a movie, and we
Yep.
both reviewed our own. Code White is fun, but it very much felt like treading water in the macro sense of it being part of a series. It just felt like an extended episode. I didn't really walk away feeling like it accomplished much of anything just because it never felt like it added anything to the livelihood of the characters after the fact.
Yeah, based off your recommendation, we burned through and caught up on all of Spy Family, and it was fun. But you're very right. It kind of felt like an extended episode, a little bit of a placeholder, waiting for season what 2, 3? Yeah, season 3
Season
to come
3
out.
that starts fall 2025, so probably more like winter 2026 is when we'll start seeing episodes.
Inside Out 2 really did enjoy, but it was just a step down for me because I really do appreciate having those portrayals of anxiety and ennui and stuff like that. And I love that anxiety isn't necessarily a terrible emotion. It is an emotion that is there to prepare you. It is supposed to be a warning system that can go haywire. I really do like that. I do wonder if we would get I feel different if one of the emotions that they had originally pitched and were working around with, shame, that one was supposed to be in there because as Riley's getting older, we all experience teenage years of body changes and all that stuff's happening, and there is some shame involved in that. I think it would have been too heavy, but as the audience is growing, maybe if they do that in the third one, that might bring something. I don't necessarily want that. I don't want a Disney, a Pixar body horror. Yeah. I mean, that's for the third one. Maybe they will go that direction. And Dream Productions, they dropped that. It was like 6 episodes on Disney Plus. It was supposed to be set between 1 and 2, and it's about the dream emotions that create what she is dreaming and how she processes her life through dreams. And it was actually really enjoyable. I actually really thought it was a really sweet kind of add-on. In many ways, I almost felt as if they should have gone more with that story about how our dreams help us process pain and how help us process our daily emotions, and how our dreams just pivot from even, and how even nightmares can be introduced through our misunderstandings of a happenstance of life. So yes, the Inside Out franchise is very fascinating, and I really do enjoy it. But I mean, the Wild Robot is just fantastic.
And I do want to throw out a an honorable mention to Flow. I have not seen Flow yet, but I have heard very good things from Caesar at No on 15, as well as Justin from the Movie Wire. I think that it'll probably get a nomination. I just remember seeing that trailer and kind of being triggered because I thought that they either had stolen assets from like the Unreal Engine or something,
Yeah.
or it was AI generated, and the AI generation like stole assets again from Unreal or Little Kitty Big City. I guess it's just a very low budget. I think I don't know if it's Ukrainian, like Eastern
Latvian.
European, Latvian, and it's a daring movie because they chose to go with no dialogue. It's all pantomime. It's all just conveyed through the emotion of the animals. So I think that's worthwhile and worth mentioning, even though I haven't seen it yet. I hope to see it soon. I just need to find a way to see it.
Yeah, I really, really, really want to see it because this all the reviews I've seen it that it's amazing. I'm really glad that they're submitting it for an Academy Award, and hoping it drops on. I suppose I've read that it's supposed to be on Crunchyroll eventually. So I'm really hoping that's before the Academy Awards.
Well, let's move into best TV/streaming show. My streaming has been severely cut down this year, so I haven't watched a whole lot, but we do have a pretty stacked category, I think. We've got Fallout, House of the Dragon Season 2, Ted on Peacock, The Penguin, Agatha All Along, Shogun, Dark Matter, which was suggested by Blue Sky follower Angela Marks, and mine and Alex's favorite show currently ongoing, Ghosts.
I'm torn. It is either Fallout or The Penguin for me. I mean, I love Ghosts. I need Dark Matter is in my watch list. I loved Ted, but because I think it started like in November and ended maybe in like January, I kind of like that's the way I feel like at the moment. I mean, it was great. I'm really glad they're working on season 2. House of the Dragon existed, but Fallout and the Penguin, those were
House of the Dragon like got shot in the foot by the studio because they lost 3 episodes, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was supposed to be an 11 episode season, and then they just went, no, see, episode 8 is and you're done.
Yeah.
Which is why it felt like it was the episode that's setting up the episodes going into a finale instead of just setting the board for whatever they end up doing in season 3. For me, I kind of have to go Fallout just because I think that's the one that stuck with me a little bit longer. I really dug Shogun, but I didn't get into it the way other people did. I think it's a beautiful show. It just, people were praising it as like the new Game of Thrones. I didn't find it that politically intriguing. And I felt like too much of it was focused on the wrong people. So I think that it being an ensemble and like a multi storyline kind of show, the multiple storylines really only came together once it focused in on like 2 characters, and that's when like you saw more of it. I felt like that was a little bit of a letdown. So for me, I think it's Fallout. It's a more fun show. I like that they pay homage to the games because while there is the central storyline, they get pulled off into so many different side quests. Like none of it feels like they're treading water, and that is the sign of a good show.
Okay, I'm gonna go Fallout now because you just sold me on it. That each episode feels like they're going somewhere. I think it really honors the 25-ish year history of the video games. It sets itself firmly among them. Walton Goggins just kicked ass as a ghoul. Ella Purnell, those massive doe eyes with her perkiness of Vault Dweller is just wonderful. I really was going to say the Penguin because I really love that show. I still don't understand how the hell they went with Colin Farrell to be like in massive prosthetics, but he is so good in the role. He really sells it. He works his face, the way he talks, the way his emotional cadence through in the body language through that suit as a very different version of the Penguin's great. Kristen Milotti, probably best known as the mother from How I Met Your Mother. She plays
she plays Falcone's daughter, doesn't she?
Yeah, Sophia Falcone, who was the Hangman. She just got out of Arkham. And then we have Rezi Feliz, who's playing, I believe, a brand new character called Vic, who kind of acts as the Penguin's like sidekick. But there are 2 or 3 episodes of that where it's just like, come on. I appreciate the acting and you spent money and just move the freaking story forward, because they do that thing where they have to pad it a little bit. So like you end on a cliffhanger with like guns drawn on everybody. Oh my gosh, how's Penguin's going to get out of this? And then the next episode is nothing but backstory. It's like, But that being said, I watched it weekly and I wanted to see how it ended. And it was a great show. And I'm excited that he's in the Batman 2 whenever that comes out in 2047, and that they're working on the Penguin season 2. But in terms of not treading, like you said, not treading water, valuing your time, Fallout just does it.
Fallout takes the cake with best streaming show. That was also one of the ones that I considered for that was this year, but I'm sorry, that was this year. So moving into best video game, like I said, I have not played many video games this year. So I mostly went off the things that the Video Game Club has been talking about a lot this year. So we have Balatro, Elden Ring DLC. I forget the Erd tree, something like that. Uh,
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3, which I know was last year, but people continue to play it. Mario Wonder, Final Fantasy 7. I think its Rebirth was one that came out this year. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, which I played like the first 90 minutes of before my Xbox Game Pass subscription ran out. And I'm not a fan of the first person perspective for the Indiana Jones game. There is something enchanting about the tutorial level, which is playing the opening scene from Raiders and
Ooh.
how they capture everyone's visage, their likeness, and just the way that they were able to get the voices pretty on the nose. I am very curious how good of a game it is outside of nostalgia and how much hearing, oh geez, I'm forgetting his name.
Troy
Who's the
Baker.
Troy Baker? Troy Baker is Harrison Ford / Indiana Jones. It's phenomenal. I want to know what people who are not nostalgic for Indiana Jones feel about the game, because it is a game made for 40-year-old dudes. Like that's the best way I can put it. Of the games on the list, I played Indiana Jones and Mario Wonder. I've watched the Game Club Boys and Payne play Baldur's Gate 3 a lot this year. Oh, Astrobot, that was the other one, the one that won Game of the Year. I'm gonna not say Astrobot only because while yes, I've heard it's an amazing game and like Astro's Playroom is supposedly an amazing game. I have no
It
idea how
is.
to get it on my PS5.
Oh, it's already loaded on there when you bought it.
I can't find it. I don't know. My boomerism is kicking in. Uh, I can't be excited about something that's essentially a glorified tech demo, even though Astrobot is now taking the place of Sackboy, who is taking place of Crash Bandicoot. Like as the PlayStation mascot, I just I can't get into it. I don't care. But again, maybe I'll give it a shot if I can find Astro's Playroom and play that. But for me, of the games I have played this year, I would give it to Mario Wonder, even though personally Mario Wonder is not a game that has really struck that Mario chord for me.
So I didn't play Balatro. I've heard about it recently, and apparently it's like a poker roguelike
Yeah,
game,
I
which I
don't
find
understand how that even works.
I'm very, very curious about that. So I'll probably end up watching a let's play of it. Elden Ring DLC. I'm not ready to dive back in to losing like 100 to 190 hours on Elden Ring while throwing my controller against the wall, being upset. Mario Wonder. I understand it's good. Final Fantasy 7. I'm going to wait for the entire trilogy to be done before doing that because screw you guys. Final Fantasy 7 came out and it was like multiple discs. I played it hundreds of times, hundreds of hours, dozens of times. You're doing a remaster, remix, rebirth, reimagination. I will wait to play it all at once when it's all done. I understand each one's beautiful. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle went completely past my radar. I don't know much about it. I will give some props to my longtime love of Destiny 2 for finishing their 10-year light and dark saga with the final shape coming out. And according to current Steam charts, also finishing the game completely as the player count has completely dropped to its lowest numbers
Oh
ever.
no.
It makes squatting up kind of hard when half of your guild's gone. Dragon's Dogma 2 I really liked, but for me it felt like it was too long between Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen, which I believe was 2014 or 2015, to this new one. I mean, it sold well. Hopefully we get some DLC from that, or may announce the third one. Astrobot, I understand, Josh, your boomer, but Astrobot's Playroom is a tech demo for the PS5, and it's also a nostalgia bait because as you're playing it, you're unlocking like little trophies, and then you go into the little trophy room and you see like the original PS1, and then you see like the PS1 Mini, and then the PS2 Fat and the PS2 Slim. The same with the PS3s, like multiple versions of it. You collect them as you're going through. Now, Astrobot, this full game that they've released this year, is actually more like a Mario ripoff. Like all the platforming and all that stuff. Yes, it is kind of like it is Sony going, oh, we haven't released a good Sackboy in a while, and every PS5 has Playroom on it, except for Josh's, which we purposely uninstalled before giving it to him. So let's do this hardcore with the new mascot. I really plan on playing it. One of my favorite streamers was playing it, and after one game of the year, and he was grumping like for the first hour, like, oh, this is just terrible. And then by hour 2, he's like, this is fantastic. This is like a nostalgia trip, Mario like 1, 2, 3 ripoff and stuff. But for me, I'm going to go with Baldur's Gate. I understand it came out last year, but I've been waiting on patches for the seamless couch co-op so I can play with my wife. And they finally put that patch in to fix that in August. So that's when we earnestly began to play it. And it's fantastic. They continue to support it. They've been releasing big updates. Like you can play through again now with brand new endings. They've given different origin characters new endings, new voice work, new lines. They actually said they were done with that big patch, but then they announced another one where they're going to add a bunch more of class options and customization to make so your characters play completely differently again sometime in like February or March. And that's when that's the final one. They're saying they're done with patch 8. That's the big last one. That's not how Larian works. They patch their stuff for years, adding new stuff. So for me, it's Baldur's Gate 3.
I can accept Baldur's Gate 3. I've seen enough of Tim, Joey, Alex, and Payne playing it that I can change my vote. I was thinking about changing it to Indiana Jones, but I'll make a consensus and say Baldur's Gate. So let's move into favorite comic book. For me on my list, I had Radiant Black, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Ultimate Spider-Man, Aliens versus Avengers, and the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I'm going to go with Radiant Black as my favorite comic of the year. They just concluded their Cataclysm War arc where Kyle Higgins was writing literally two different comic books in parallel timelines to show who would end up becoming the true Radiant Black by the end of this. We talked about it in our Massive Month episode when we had Marty on to interview Kyle Higgins. And through various things that happened throughout the year, it took longer to produce than Kyle Higgins had initially intended. And it just ended, I believe, in October. I mean, writing two comic books of the same thing throughout the year. I mean, among other things that he's doing, being an editor and story advisor on other things. Plus, he's working on pre-production for another property of his that's being transitioned into a movie with no one. There's a lot of stuff happening for him, and like most of it is good. And I mean, Radiant Black is fantastic, and just the conclusion to the Cataclysm War was awesome. And I couldn't recommend that enough. I hope people will read the collection of the Cataclysm War and just kind of appreciate what he did and understand that he wrote those concurrently. And it's not like he went 1 month this, the next month that, and he released them together each month as they came out.
Wow, that's incredible. I I don't really read many comics these days. So I will cede to you because whenever we talk Radiant Black, you or about a comic, you are sold in on that universe. And looking it up, and from what you say, it seems like the story is kind of over. So it looks like I have 6 or 7 omnibuses.
Well, they're coming back. They're coming back in February with basically a fresh start. The way Kyle Higgins had put it is the Cataclysm War was the story that he had in his head when he came up with the character and when he pitched it to Image Comics, and they wanted him to kind of pad out the baseline of the characters, get people attached. So he had 25 previous issues building up to this thing that led up to there being two Radiant Blacks in two different timelines, and what happens in the timelines is different. Different choices lead to different results, and finally the conclusion that leads to one character, I'm not going to spoil it, becoming the new Radiant Black. I do also want to honorable mention Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Melissa Flores took over, but she's been on several times to talk about the Dead Lucky. We've talked a little bit about her Power Rangers run and her ties to the brand. She was tasked with closing out that run of Power Rangers comics, and now she's writing Power Rangers Prime. The Darkest Hour storyline that she created to close out the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers run, which was kicked off by Kyle Higgins, handed over to Ryan Parrott, and then Matt Groom took over for a little while, and then Melissa Flores picked up. Big massive verse tie-ins because they all love Sentai, Super Sentai, essentially. She stuck the landing on the finale of. So I do want to give a special shout out to Melissa Flores on that too. So Radiant Black is our favorite comic of the year. Let's move on to favorite characters. We'll start with live action. Let's start with the obvious ones. We have Glinda and Elphaba from Wicked, as played by Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, respectively. We have Gambit from Deadpool and Wolverine, as played by Channing Tatum. As much as I hate to have Gambit on there because I don't care for Gambit, Jesus Christ, was Channing Tatum fun as Gambit. We have the kid from Monkey Man, is played by Dev Patel. This is the one I was talking about earlier. I really loved David Johnson's performance as Andy in Alien
Yes.
Romulus. He has that one line though,
Mm-hmm.
that's just like, you killed that character for me a little bit in that moment.
Yeah.
And then when you added Beetlejuice into it, I think you just wanted to poke me with a stick a little bit.
Yes, I did.
I felt his Beetlejuice was really tame and was not the main point of that movie. For me, I like, out of the if I'm including performance in my favorite character, I kind of want to give it to Andy.
Yeah, I have to. I mean, Beetlejuice, I just enjoy seeing Michael Keaton on screen, and you could tell he really enjoyed the role. And there are many parts of that movie I really liked. With the kid, it worked. You could tell they had the passion for it. Glinda and Elphaba,
Wonderful performances, but
yeah.
I think Cynthia Erivo does a better job of making the role her own.
Yes.
Where I feel like Ariana Grande is working to just amalgamate everything.
Yeah.
She's trying to create a Glinda that feels familiar, which I think is impressive.
Mm-hmm.
And like, she's doing what she's being directed to do as well. Her performance is wonderful. Not to borrow a parlance from the second half of Wicked, but I think I put them together as a duo because they are an ensemble. Like, you can take them one or the other, but they are better together. But I the depth and the differences of night and day with Andy, where he's broken and old and glitching out when before he gets the upgrade, and then like the smoothness of him once he gets the upgrade, and he's still conflicted too, because like, he's got these new orders, but he also still shows these moments where he's like, but that's my friend, that's my sister, that's the person who has cared for me.
Yep.
And even though it's my programming, what do I do? I think there's a really good performance in there from David Johnson, and I'm very excited to see what he can bring in the future.
No, I completely agree with everything you've said, because I would agree that it's definitely Andy. It was a role that was made, that could be made to just do what others have done when they have the face heel turn, or where they have that duality to them, and the sudden turn from good to evil to good to misunderstood. But the way he nuanced it was just so good and so fun. And yeah, I loved it. And and I've rewatched it once or twice since then. I stop at the elevator shaft, and that's fine.
I feel like you could just skip forward like 10 seconds and it would still be mostly okay.
Yeah.
That line just is so out of nowhere and completely out of character that it does kind of break the movie.
See, I would challenge you to do this next time you watch The Batman with Rob Bat. If turn off the movie right after the interrogation sequence with the Riddler, and tell me you do, and let me know if you actually missed the last 30 minutes of the city being destroyed, because I don't. Once I hit that mark, I thought the movie was over. I was like, wow, they told a fairly linear, straight detective noir. And then, but you could just feel the movie studio machinations say, but we need an explosion. We gave you an extra $70 million. What are you doing, kid? It's like, fine, I'll wreck the entire city and we'll flood some stuff, and okay.
And that part also just completely makes no sense either, because his whole thing is, we have to go after the 1%. We have to take out the rich and the powerful. And I'm going to do that by flooding the city and killing a bunch of lower class people.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, Riddler. Sure.
Yeah.
Get your gimp mask and get ready to be butt fucked in by the gross Joker in prison.
So yeah, that's how I feel about it. It's like, if I stop Romulus like right at the elevator shaft, I really don't miss anything. It's like, oh, then they escape. Okay, cool.
But the acid blood scene is pretty cool, even though like, it scientifically makes no sense. But like,
it's awesome.
It's cool.
It does look cool.
So let's move into favorite video game character. You have Karlach from Baldur's Gate 3, and I have Princess Peach Showtime. Princess Peach in Princess Peach Showtime. I'm going to not worry about the other two because I think I put those in the wrong category. I was showing some love to Joey in the Game Club pod, but favorite video game character, I don't think is needed there. I'm gonna just call this a wash
Okay,
because I don't know if you've seen the outfits from Princess Peach Showtime, but they're adorable.
they
She's
are.
super cute,
Yes.
and there's some surprising ones in there that are just super fun. If you have a chance, just look up like Princess Peach Showtime outfits and look at them and be like, "Oh my god, that's so cute."
It is.
The game sucks. Like it was a game made for the Wii, it feels like, and they just repurposed it after 7-10 years and went, yeah, okay, Switch, we need something before Mario Wonder, and a Princess Peach game will sell money. So yeah. So let's move into favorite live action TV character. We have Lucy McLean, as played by Ella Purnell, Oswald Cobblepot, played by Colin Farrell, the Ghoul, played by Walton Goggins. Alex added in Mr. Beast. I'm gonna just disqualify him because he's
I,
a bad person.
I will explain that. But finish the list.
Then we have Tenax, as played by Ewan Rowan.
Best known as Ramsey Bolton.
Okay.
All right. So,
And then I've got two more. Hold on.
oh, sorry, my bad.
We've got Totem Mariko from Shogun, as played by Anna Sawai, who has won awards for this role. And then we have Kashigi these Japanese names and my American tongue don't mix. Kashigi Yabushige, as played by Tadanobu Asano. Spoiler alert for me, I'm giving it to Lucy.
Yeah.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna give it to Lucy, but I will put why 10x. 10x, it's from those prepared to die. Crap, whatever that. Yeah, whatever that show was that was on NBC. That's not getting a second season, even though it ends on a cliffhanger, and they spent like $200 million on it. I love him. His character in it. He's doing it nuanced. He's doing a very similar character to Ramsey Bolton, where it's but Ramsey's just straight evil. This one is nuanced, and there are scenes where he and this other character are like semi seducing each other. It's kind of like a will they won't they, but he's afraid of her, and I just love that because he has the power since he's a Roman citizen, and she doesn't because she's from a different country trying to save her children from slavery. The power dynamic is very messed up, but he wants her, but he's afraid of her, and she knows that he could like he has the power to like help her get her kids free, but also wants to like intimidate him, and it just whenever they're on screen together, it's fantastic. Now, why Mr. Beast or from Beast Games? It's not a good show, but I can't stop watching it. And he is a video game character. He is a live action character. I'm not sure that he's a person. His hype squad.
Well, no, he's a millionaire. He's not a person anymore.
His hype squad of friends are completely useless to the show, but they're there.
And they're awful people per reports.
Supposedly, there are lawsuits.
Allegedly.
Allegedly, there are lawsuits happening from him to that, from to Mr. Beast down, and I can't defend against those lawyers. But I don't know if he's actually a person because everything that happens at show, it's so overproduced. Like there are like people get knocked out of a game, and they add digital smoke to like random stuff, and they add like these AR overlays that make no sense.
So it's like produced like a YouTube video, like a very old school YouTube video.
Yes, and it's hyper edited. There are situations that there are compelling games they play and situations they put people in, which when we're watching it, it's like, I don't know what I would do in that situation, but I might do this or something like that. But the reason why he's my favorite live action character is because he's not a person. He's a brand. He is from he's from like central casting of like Gen Z. Get me some smug Gen Z person who just walks around and offers people money to do horrible things to each other and betray each other. It is the encapsulation of where we're going. And so he's not my favorite, but I think he should be nominated. But let's be honest. It's Ella Purnell, Lucy and her okie dokie and her random, like, I can't still can get in my head. Like episode 6 or 7, she randomly just turns to someone and he says, "Do you want to have sex?" Just like it's like, I'm bored right now.
So casual about it, yeah. And then you can see the wheels turning where she's like, "I haven't had sex in like a week." He's pretty cute.
And we got nothing to do right now. We're captured.
We're sitting in quarantine. What else are we gonna do? We can't get each other sick if we're sick.
She's fabulous. Oh.
Yeah, the charisma that comes through with that. I was very tempted to give it to the Ghoul, but the dual performance with him, I feel like it's a little convoluted. I don't like giving him the big backstory and the ties to what's the name of the Pip Boy company? I can't remember.
I don't remember Fallout
What
Corp. I don't know.
the big corporation that is evil, because we always need an evil corporation. I didn't need any of that. I think if he was just like this ghoul that had survived the wastelands for forever and he wasn't just some well-known actor from the retro futuristic past, it would have been fine. But I mean, they got to give him a tragic backstory because then it makes him more relatable and people will attach to him, I guess. But let's move into the category that everyone's been waiting for, and that was this year. So we have Monarch Legacy of Monsters. I did add Fallout because it does feel like forever ago that we saw this.
Wait, Monarch was this year?
Monarch was this year.
Was it before or after Godzilla v Kong?
It
Or
was
X Kong?
before Godzilla X Kong.
Oh wow! Okay.
But after Godzilla -1, which I should have
What?
added Godzilla -1 minus color into our best movie, but I feel like that was a cheat.
It is a cheat because I would have given it to that.
It is beautiful. I pre-ordered my physical copy. Not a sponsor, but could be. Godzilla.com. You can get a 4K Blu-ray that has 2 discs. It has Godzilla -1 and Godzilla -1 minus color, plus a bunch of extra features on top of it.
Yes.
It doesn't come with a digital copy, but I think that's fine.
Yeah, and screw you guys. Josh already gave me his referral code, so I got money off.
Yeah, if you create an account, you can get free shipping and such, or 8% off your order, whichever is greater. So we have Monarch Legacy of Monsters, Fallout, ISS, Lift, the bad heist movie with Kevin Hart.
I was going to ask which one that was. I was like, I don't remember that. Oh, man.
That might be our winner. We have The Acolyte. We have Twisters. We have John Krasinski and Ryan Reynolds. If we have Chris Pratt as Garfield, we have Echo, and we have Knuckles, the Paramount Plus exclusive series, and we have Rebel Moon Part 2 and the director's cut of Rebel Moon. There's a twist to this category because they all win. They were all this year, really?
I thought Fallout was like November last year. Yeah.
No,
ISS,
I think that started in February.
I think you're right. Okay, so I will say that I think you should remove one from the list. I think you should remove Twisters because now that it finally came to Peacock streaming, my wife and I have watched it. It is so bad. We love it. It is,
and that's probably what they're going for.
It is not as good as Twisters 1. Twisters 1 is just kind of hokey and fun. This one is a lot more serious, but bless them, they drive a truck into a tornado, a twister, and they light off fireworks for fun, and it is hysterical. It's not good, but you should remove that one. Everything else, definitely.
Okay. So, biggest disappointment of 2024, we have The Acolyte. This might be my winner just because the premise of like a murder noir Star Wars show set in the High Republic era sounded so damn intriguing at the time. Other nominees we have are Transformers 1, Alien Romulus, and Rebel Moon Director's Cut.
And Knuckles. You have Knuckles up there.
Oh, do I have Knuckles up there? I do. Mm-hmm. I have a bigger gap in there because of the TMNT note that I have in there. Knuckles was a little disappointing. I think it was more disappointing in the sense that it wasn't a show about Knuckles. It was a show about, was it Wesley or Walter? I don't even remember the name of the character. Know. There's a neighbor in the Sonic movies who's a cop, and he's the main character, and he basically just goes through a weird Kingpin story from the Woody Harrelson and Bill Murray movie. It's a buddy comedy. It's a buddy road trip comedy that culminates in them doing Kingpin while Knuckles has a fight with the Hound outside the bowling alley.
Oh my God.
Knuckles is a tertiary character at best in the show. Calling it Knuckles is an insult to movie or TV show titles. That would be like if How I Met Your Mother ended with, and that's how I met your Aunt Robin.
Yeah.
Like, wait, what? What is happening here? Knuckles, I think, is more just frustrating than it is disappointing. For me, it's The Acolyte. The story that they were trying to tell, There were some surprises, like episode, I think is 4 or 5, that starts off with the big battle in the woods, and they kill off like every character that's not Soul or Osha or her sister. I can't remember her sister's name. That episode was surprisingly surprising. Um, like unexpectedly surprising and like happily surprising. But so much of that show just made no sense.
There's one that I forgot to put on there, and it is Gladiator 2. I saw it opening weekend, and I am just so mad. It tells the exact same story, but but much worse. It tries that bullcrap of trying to play respect but nostalgia bait from the first one, and there's some okay parts, but it's overall it's a letdown. But when I'm looking at these, what disappointed me, I keep hoping that I really do keep hoping that Star Wars will loop me back in to make me care. And the Acolyte's very muddled story of teasing us by, immediately offing Trinity and then trying to do this weird thing of, well, the Jedi are also bad. That apparently Yoda and the others were hiding Sith's reemergence, but also trying to protect the goodness of themselves by basically turning them into a metaphor for modern day police force politics. I'm like, no, 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 no. You can do these stories in a way that is not heavy handed, but there is no tact with what they were trying to do. And it didn't work for me. Instead, it was just, was it 6 episodes, 7 episodes, where they try to lure us along with, oh yeah, and they with feeling so confident within themselves that they would get a season 2 by putting, Darth Malice the Wise or whatever heck that guy's name is, that they actually never say, but they like tease like, oh yeah, this is Darth Plagueis the Wise at the end. This is who Palpatine got his information from, and we're going to eventually lead the story down this road. It's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. So yeah, it was a disappointment, and I'm going to wait for all of Skeleton Crew to get out to be released before trying to give that a watch to see if that can do something for me. But if not, come on, the Mandalorian and Baby Yoda movie. Come on, be good. Be good. Come on. Bring it.
I've heard surprisingly good things about Skeleton Crew, but I'm kind of in the same boat where I'm just kind of, I'm not feeling it, so I'm not gonna give it the time until the whole thing is out. So that's something that I kind of need to wrap my head around and find the time for once we get there. But yeah, I kind of have to give it to the Acolyte as the biggest disappointment, because there is like a prestige that comes with being Star Wars, and there's an expectation in quality, even though at this point it's probably more bad than good. We do have Andor coming out in 2025, so hopefully that kind of helps reinvigorate things. But let's move into our final category, which is another all winners category. We're not going to pick our favorite because they're all our favorite, just different ways. So our favorite Talking Smack episodes of the year, we have our Sex Lives with Superheroes episode where we interviewed author Diana McCollum from the From Superheroes Network. Very appreciative and grateful to have her on. Like I mentioned in the episode, I've been following her work for 10 plus years at this point. It was a pretty incredible thing to be able to talk with her.
And I still have nightmares from reading that book. There's some body horror in there, and bless you, Diana. You were wonderfully game to answer all our questions.
Yeah, she was not shy about the questions or the things that we had to bring up with that. New friend of the show, Douglas A. Burton, talking with him about the heroine's journey, or I'm sorry, the heroine's labyrinth, and just what it means to write impactful women-led stories, and his perspective on how to create engaging stories with that. Really great conversation. He does some really fun collaborations with, I believe it's the Retro Nerd Girl on YouTube, so definitely check that out. We got to interview a legend in the industry, a man who actually helped work on the Star Wars holiday special, Michael Hirsch. We talked about his new book and his rise in the industry, as well as his history, as his family history and where he came from. And all of it is just fantastic. Very appreciative of him taking the time. The next one is more what's the word? It's not self gratification.
It's more of a
I
self-flagellation because we had to hurt ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, but we enjoyed it at the same time in a weird way. It was the
Masochist.
Hobbit. Yeah, masochistic. It was the Hobbit trilogy of episodes for us, where we took an entire week and we watched the Hobbit trilogy, and I mean, we learned some things about ourselves. We learned that the first movie is not terrible.
No, it's actually worth
It's
what you're watching.
it's
It's
kind of
cute.
charming.
Yeah.
And then you just stop. Don't do it
Yeah.
again. Don't do anymore. Just be like, man, I wish they would have made more of that. And don't look into the Desolation of Smaug, or look up Desolation of Smaug, Thief in the Shadows, and then you're done. um,
You know what they should do? I just realized this will be my direct, because we watched the director's cuts, by the way. We
yes.
suffered for you all. Um, when Bilbo runs out of the house screaming, "I'm going on an adventure," immediately just jump to the last 10 minutes of um, the Battle of the Five Armies and just end it there. Just whatever happened to be a mystery, just jump to, why is Bilbo talking to this guy who's dying? What happened? Why is he, what is all these dead bodies behind him? And then cut to Bilbo looking at the ring, and we're done. I think that would be impactful.
And then one other one that I wanted to throw on there, just because I had a good time with it. The superhero movie actor portrayal tier list. A very long title of an episode, but it was a fun episode that I got to spend some time with the lovely Dan from Casting Views, and we got to talk about actor portrayals in superhero movies and put them on a tier list, and that was fun. So 2024 is in the books, and we are officially into 2025. It was a fun year of podcasting. I know
It
we
did.
took we took that mental break in November, and Justin, thank you so much for filling in as often as you did and joining us as often as you did for 2024. To Joey, Antonio, Slade, the Game Club Pod Boys, all of our guests, Diana, Douglas, Michael, um, Dan, all of you, everyone who has taken the time to help promote the show, who has helped share our social media posts. It's been a great year. It's been fun. A little frustrating at times, personally, just because the SmackDowns episodes kill me a little bit inside each year, just because of the time it takes. But I had a thought, and I can't remember what it is. I'm gonna have to try and rack my brain and figure out what it is again. Maybe skipping the SmackDowns this year. Although I think we're hitting 200, so we kind of have to do it.
Yeah.
So maybe we make it an every 100 episodes sort of thing, instead of an every 50 episodes sort of thing.
Okay. You know what else would be fun?
What's that?
I think that we should do Superman June. I don't know why, I just on top of my head, I think we should do that.
Super Summer? Yeah, I'm down for what Matt's promoted with Super Summer.
And part of
We
that should be the SmackDown of which Superman would beat up what Superman.
well, we already know it's the Henry Cavill one because he's a murderer.
Oh, poor Henry
He has no
Cavill.
problem snapping a neck at some point.
Oh, poor Cavill.
Great looking Superman. He just needs boxer briefs and a Clark Kent persona, and he's a great Superman. But he doesn't have those things, and so he's kind of missing out. But yeah, everyone, thank you again so much for your love, support, interaction, engagement, whatever you want to call it. Oh, Alex, you didn't remind me, and I told you to remind me.
Oh, right. There's supposed to be some people being jerks.
We got a YouTube comment at
that's right.
GJ Ford 1951. Thank you so much for commenting on our Gladiator 2 Wicked double feature with Justin. But they said, I loved what was done with Defying Gravity. They controlled your focus and did not give in to audience desire to get to the beloved and cherished battle cry end. They held it out for as long as they could. I don't think you give enough credit to John M. Chu, which I agree. He's right. We did not praise the direction of that movie enough.
Mm-hmm.
He did an amazing job corralling that film and putting it together. JG Ford continues, after Crazy Rich Asians, a musical without musical numbers, which is an interesting perspective to put it. And Into the Heights, a full-blown musical with Lin-Manuel Miranda. He's a master director who reflects his knowledge of the form with nods to Hitchcock, Demi, Bergman, and Minnelli.
Oh wow.
This is a long comment, so I appreciate the effort and time they put into this. There is a lot to digest in this movie, while still pushing the plot forward. If you shave 20 minutes off, you would be irritated and not know why. Uh, the audience needed to gi- the audience needed to digest the brilliance of the execution of the musical numbers. Don't disagree there, as well as the emotional arc. I don't disagree. I do think they pad out where they needed to, and they take out or they add in a little extra cinematic flair, as well as the social issue related to material, which I'm curious how much they continue. Well, they will continue with that, just because there's if I remember from the musical, the social injustice idea kind of falls to the wayside in the second act because they're like, we got to get to the witch melting part. The fact that a woman with African features is cast as Elphaba is something that for the past 20 years has been almost completely avoided on Broadway. The way that and the way we do in real life. The fact that and process has to be digested. The fact that we have a woman with African features as Elphaba needs to be processed and digested and integrated into our empathy generated by the fictional plot. I suspect you will watch the film over and over through the years and not think it's too long for different reasons. The Ten Commandments, Ben Hur, Lord of the Rings, the Judy Garland version of A Star is Born. They list as examples of movies that don't feel as long after you've watched them a few times. There is the element of superhero epic that will make rewatchings of this film easier for some people. GJ Ford, 1951, appreciate you taking the time to write all that out and share your thoughts and opinions. I don't disagree with like 99% of any of them. I do think the movie could be streamlined a little bit, but I don't think your point is wrong either, where letting you kind of sit in the moment doesn't hurt the movie either. So again, I appreciate you taking the time to comment. If you want to comment on anything, you can join our Discord or you can email us at tsmackpod@gmail.com. But Alex, please let more people know about the Discord.
Discord is where you can find us. Discord is where we live. Discord is where we don't pay Matt to be there all day. Don't tell Matt's bosses. And use Discord. It's where we primarily post, our news, our thoughts on trailers and stuff like that. Discussions on just about everything. So please join. It's on the link below.
And don't forget to follow us on all the social media platforms: Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, Hive Social, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok. We're at Talking SMAC Pod. Like I said, you can email us at tsmackpod@gmail.com. Thank you to Beppo for our original avatars, Retro Studios for our Ricky avatar. Thank you to Leo Allen for our musical themes. Happy New Year, Alex. Welcome to 2025. Please tell all your friends, family, anyone to like, subscribe, rate, review the podcast on your podcatcher of choice, like on the YouTube videos. And most importantly, thank you for listening. Take care and watch Star Trek. Oh, and by the way, Star Trek Discovery is canon. Shut the fuck up, nerds.
No, it's not.